Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about. It is going to be a great segment. General Michael Flynn is all over the news. General Michael Flynn is an honorable man. And by the way, to my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. General Michael Flynn is an honorable man. He should never have been set up and framed. Number one, who interviewed both General Michael Flynn and Hillary Clinton? Who interviewed both of them? Who's the FBI agent in the live chat? Let me know who is the FBI agent that interviewed both General Michael Flynn and Hillary Clinton. In the live chat. Exactly. Sue D. Exactly. So, exactly, Tim. Exactly, Todd. Exactly, Melanie. So, Peter Strzok interviewed Michael Flynn. Peter Strzok interviewed Hillary Clinton. Ever wonder why they're exactly Eric H526? Ever wonder why they're Paul H? Yep. Ever wonder why there's one outcome with Clinton and one outcome with Flynn? Flynn didn't even commit crimes. Hillary Clinton committed crimes. So all of this is complete and utter nonsense. Now, let's start from the beginning. Michael Flynn didn't commit any criminal act. Hillary Clinton did. It's not this the stupidest phrase in the world, whataboutism. It's called hypocrisy. When people make arguments, they make arguments within a frame of reference. You have to take people's words within context. If people are saying that, oh, well, collusion with Russia, oh my God, well, then Hillary Clinton purchased the Steele dossier, and the Steele dossier was compiled with help from Russian sources. So you can't simply hide behind claims that you're okay with if it's on your side, or claims that pertain to your side, while at the same time condemning your political opponent. That's called hypocrisy. It's not called whataboutism. And the funny thing with whataboutism is that the moral foundation upon which these people stand, whether it's like the social justice people or the Russia people, or it's like Hillary Clinton called black youth super predators. President Obama destroyed Libya. That was his biggest mistake. Trump's biggest mistake is being mean in tweets. That's pretty much what his biggest mistake is. And then they say, oh, he said both sides were equal, but there are fine people on both sides. He obviously didn't mean the horrendous people on one of those sides. So, like, you have Hillary Clinton, who just the other day said, oh yeah, all people look, everyone in that ethnic group or that racial group looks alike. And they're okay, and people are okay with it. They don't bring it up. If Trump were to tweet that, it would be nonstop news. So the double standard, it's not whataboutism, it's hypocrisy and a double standard. Michael Flynn was already exonerated, by the way. This is a New York Times article. Was it 2016? Or is it a Washington Post? I think it's a Washington Post article. Get this article up. FBI reviewed Flynn's calls with Russian ambassador but found nothing illicit. So why was this a problem? Like I stated before, this is January 23rd, 2017. This is the Washington Post. I just tweeted this out. FBI reviewed Flynn's calls with Russian ambassador but found nothing illicit. The FBI in late December reviewed intercepts of communications between the Russian ambassador to the United States and retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn, national security advisor to then President-elect Trump, but has not found any evidence of wrongdoing or illicit ties to the Russian government. There is no evidence. This is the FBI already reviewed Flynn's calls. They have no, and then when they say, well, Flynn is cooperating, yeah, he told them what took place. He doesn't need to fabricate anything. And the indictment doesn't, the Flynn memo or the interviews with Flynn that Mueller conducted have nothing to do with Trump colluding with Russia. Why would Trump collude with Russia to inform the American public that Hillary Clinton cheated Bernie Sanders? It makes no sense. It's stupid. It criminalizes the fact that we know how corrupt Clinton was. Oh, well, they had dirt on Clinton. They had dirt on Clinton. Manafort wanted to have dirt on Clinton. Everyone had dirt on Clinton. You can just Google, and you'll see that she transferred top secret intelligence outside the United States government. Trump Russia is about Clinton. Trump Russia is directly linked to Hillary Clinton. She purchased the Steele dossier, and she outsourced CrowdStrike. And when they say, and by the way, if you didn't get notification, ladies and gentlemen, please share this on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you'd like. The Mueller probe will end, and there will be a whole lot of questions asked, and then the House will then try to continue the Mueller probe. So eventually the Mueller probe will end. We don't know when it'll end. He should have fired Mueller. President Trump should have fired Mueller. And you know what would have taken place? You know what he should have done? He should have fired Mueller, then immediately indicted Clinton and said, go ahead, do what you need to do. What are you going to do? You need 2/3 of the Senate to impeach. You're not going to get 67 senators. There aren't that many turncoats within the Republican Party. And I mean, the morale among Trump supporters is not as high as it once was. Now, look, I think that Trump is a great president. Are there things that I would like him not to do? Sure. Because when you insult people on Twitter, even though I don't care and I find it amusing, sometimes it can be taken and twisted and then utilized to say, oh, well, Trump is this, Trump is that, when he's really not. So I'd rather he tone down a little bit on Twitter, not in terms of the memes regarding Clinton in jail. That's hilarious. Well, I almost sneezed. Sorry. Excuse me. Almost sneezed. But the morale among Trump supporters, I think, is not as high as it once was. We're in a state of purgatory, so to speak. We're waiting. Now, it's difficult because you are very into this. I'm very into this. Vegas dude. We're into this. We know that CrowdStrike gave a copy of the DNC servers, copies and images of the DNC servers. Can you believe this nonsense? Can you believe this nonsense? They gave copies of the servers, the DNC servers, to the FBI. CrowdStrike was outsourced by Hillary Clinton. Why would you trust a copy from either Trump or Clinton? The Democrats, people on the left, would never trust Trump to investigate his own servers. That's essentially what took place. So President Trump needs to. It's the fact that there's a good economy, the fact that tariffs are working, the fact that Trump is redefining American foreign policy for the better. It is a good thing to renegotiate trade deals to make sure that more auto parts, for example, are made within the United States of America. So before we get to Flynn being 100% innocent of anything, let's look at the USMCA. USMCA fact sheet. Okay, so United States, Mexico, Canada trade fact sheet, modernizing NAFTA into the 21st century trade agreement. Clinton would not have done this. This is very good. This is very good. The United States, Mexico, and Canada have reached an agreement. So this is the actual from the United States Trade Representative, Executive Office of the President. So intellectual property. The United States, Mexico, and Canada have reached an agreement on a modernized high standard intellectual property chapter that provides strong and okay, so key highlights, the chapter, the IP chapter. Let's not get to the IP. The IP, that's fine, whatever. There is a couple of issues here that I really like. To support North American jobs, the deal contains new trade rules of origin to drive higher wages by requiring that 40 to 45% of auto content be made by workers earning at least $16 per hour. So the majority in the United States of America, that very likely is going to be 40, 45% in the U.S. Key achievement, labor recognized by the International Labor Organization. The labor chapter requires parties to adopt and maintain law and practice labor rights as recognized by the International Labor Organization. You would think that this is a liberal president who is focusing on this to effectively enforce their labor laws and not to waive from their labor laws. Additionally, the chapter includes new provisions to make measures to prohibit the importation of goods produced by forced labor. That's a good thing, to address violence against workers exercising their labor rights and to ensure that migrant workers are protected under labor laws. How is this such a horrible thing? Labor. One of President Trump's principal objectives in the renegotiation is to ensure the agreement benefits American workers. The United States, Mexico, and Canada have agreed to a labor chapter that brings labor obligations to the core agreement. So it's actually pretty good. A pretty good renegotiation of NAFTA, USMCA. And then there's so this is interesting. This is part of while NAFTA originally required automakers to use 62.5% of North American made parts in their cars to be imported duty free, the new agreement gradually raises the bar to 75% by 2023. Which will incentivize automakers to increase the amount of North American parts they use in their cars and light trucks. The USMCA also maintains that auto workers manufacture 40% of their motor vehicles in facilities where assembly workers are earning at least $16 an hour, which means primarily in the U.S. While average wages are even higher than that for auto assembly workers in Canada and the U.S., they are not in Mexico, where a number of U.S. automakers have shifted production in recent years to take advantage of lower costs. So this incentivizes automakers to ensure that 40% of their vehicles are made within the United States or Canada. But this is important. So furthermore, Mexican government authorities are required to allow workers to form collective bargaining units, supporting a more union-friendly regulatory environment. So how are people on the left upset with this? They're actually promoting unions in Mexico. So it's like, finally, the agreement includes side letters from the U.S. to the Mexican and Canadian governments promising exemption. Okay, so anyway, the point is this. You can disagree with it, you can agree with it, but see, Trump is redefining how things are done. And he's putting an emphasis on industries and workers that were ignored by Obama. When Obama said you'll never get above 2%, or 2% will be the highest growth you'll ever get, Trump is destroying that, and he's also ensuring through the USMCA and tariffs also that American workers are put first. That's not like hyperbole or propaganda. 300,000 plus manufacturing jobs were created under President Trump. 230 or 250,000 were lost. One estimate is 300,000 lost under Obama. So here's an article, Trump's tariffs are working. Great article by Matthew Walter. In the week. Let's see. So it goes on to talk about the debate over Trump's attempts to rebalance American trade relations with East Asia, Europe, and our North American neighbors, and to revive vital national industries such as steel and aluminum, which is actually a very important thing. Under Obama, America already sold 20% of U.S. uranium capacity to Putin, of all people. Then we had a steel industry that was dying. So Trump revived that. Why can't we have an argument about free trade on the merits? If you think that globalized capitalism has been a boon for everyone, and not just the obvious winners, make that case. Isn't comparing tariffs with domestic subsidies, as Trump has done, Industrial Policy 101? It is possible the United States currently produces too much or of one or more heavily subsidized agricultural commodities, that shoring up another industry instead could be more valuable, even if it hurts the bottom line of some farmers. So, you know, when Canada says, "Oh, well, you're not going to hurt our dairy industry," it's like, well, that's pretty much the argument for protectionism. When they say, "Oh, you're not going to hurt our dairy industry, how dare you?" And Trump's like, "Nah, if you want to play that game, then we'll engage in tariffs." I mean, with all these tariffs, is it that much more expensive to buy a car or a pack of beer, a six-pack of beer? No, no. Love him or hate him, this is the Washington Times. Love him or hate him, you've got to hand it to Donald Trump. His trade and tariff strategy, risky as it is, seems to be working. The master negotiator is hammering out agreements, first with the Europeans, now with Mexico, that are better deals for American firms and workers. The threat of tariffs is leading to lower tariffs. The irony is that President Trump keeps winning this way. He may actually end up being one of the champions of freer trade. So Trump's tariffs are a negotiating tactic. It's not like a long-term strategy. It's part of a strategy. It's a tactic, and it's working. In the short term, it's working. One study by the Trade Partnership predicted that tariffs could boost employment in the auto sector by 92,000 auto workers. Oh, that's actually not a study. That study's against tariffs eventually. So, but this is, to his credit, Mr. Trump has won trade concessions from the Europeans and now the Mexicans with the threat of tariffs on cars and auto parts. This is the case where the bark of Mr. Trump's tariffs are a more effective strategy than the bite. So he's actually winning with Europe. He's winning with Mexico. The economy is doing well, better than Obama's economy. And I'll get to Flynn again, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that everything is sensationalized with Trump. It's very difficult to get the positive, the benefits of what he's doing from people who just want to see him destroyed. They just want to see him out of office. That's why he has to flip the script and either begin his DOJ with Matthew Whitaker has to begin a special counsel immediately or indict Clinton and people around her. But if they give Clinton and Uma Abedin and Brian Pagliano the Mueller treatment, it's game over. See, this is not even it's not even fun for the left because they're not really getting anything juicy. They're just working off their own emotion, and they haven't stopped. With the Mueller probe, it's like they haven't stopped. They haven't stopped pretending that, oh my God, they have Trump exactly where they want him. They haven't stopped pretending that. But I'll read you. I'll get back to this. This has to do with Michael Flynn. FBI reviewed Flynn's calls with Russian ambassador, but found nothing illicit. There you go. The FBI in late December, this January 23rd, 2017. All you have to do is look at the public record. That's all you have to do. Look at the public record, and it's enough. The public record is enough to refute any claim from MSNBC and CNN. The FBI in late December reviewed intercepts of communications between the Russian ambassador to the United States and retired Lieutenant General Michael D. Flynn, National Security Advisor to then President-elect Trump, but has not found any evidence of wrongdoing or illicit ties to the Russian government, U.S. officials said. The calls were picked up as part of routine, just a routine electronic surveillance of Russian officials, just routine, and agents in the United States, which is one of the FBI's responsibilities, according to U.S. officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss counterintelligence operations. Nonetheless, the fact that communications by a senior member of Trump's national security team have been under scrutiny points up the challenge facing the intelligence community as it continues its wide-ranging probe of Russian government influence in the U.S. election. This is absurd and it's nonsense. It's always been nonsense. And you have smart people, intelligent people brainwashed. Now time for the counterpunch. Trump usually punches back when he's attacked. he usually fights back. Let's see if he's going to fight back. I'm predicting, I'm expecting that he does. But Horace, 2018, baby. Yes. Horace, thank you. Thank you, Horace. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's see if Trump fights back. The fact that communications by a senior member of Trump's national security team have been under scrutiny points to the challenge facing the intelligence community. Okay, so, and then whether there was any improper back channel contacts between Moscow. They keep on saying that there was no back channel, front channel. They didn't need Moscow. He won because Bernie Sanders was cheated. This was an anti-establishment year. People did not want Hillary Clinton. She was a horrible candidate. She's going to run again. Even if she's indicted, she'll still run again. And then she might barely lose to Kamala Harris or to Biden in the primary. Because you can rest assured that Bernie might want to run, but he will not be allowed to win. Horace, thank you. Although Flynn's contact with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak were listened to, Flynn himself is not the active target of an investigation. The Wall Street Journal reported Sunday that U.S. counterintelligence agents had investigated the communication between Flynn and Kislyak. And then they say, "Oh, he's incendiary remarks." Look at these. The way they incendiary remarks. Oh, incendiary. On a particular note, on December 29th, telephone conversation initiated an exchange of text message the day before. The Trump officials previously had said the call took place on the 28th. On the 29th, the Obama administration announced sanctions against Russia and expelled 35 officials from the Russian embassy. It took Obama a long time to do anything. And people were asking, why isn't Obama fighting back? Earlier this month, on Monday, during his first official White House news conference, Press Secretary Sean Spicer said the call covered several subjects. They included a Russian invitation to the Trump administration to take part in Russia-sponsored Syrian peace talks. Oh my God, that's so horrible. Flynn also conveyed condolences for a Russian plane crash that killed a famed military band the day before the call. Oh my God. So this is the collusion that people were talking about. That's so horrible. I mean, although Flynn was has written critically about Russia, he also was paid to deliver a speech at a 2015 Moscow gala for RT. So what? If that's a problem, there's $500,000, and he wasn't. I can bet you he wasn't paid $500,000. $500,000 that Bill Clinton was paid. So, I mean, the big thing here is that nobody is talking about CrowdStrike being the, oh, and by the way, Bill Priestap, the last piece to all of this, is leaving. That's the other failed Q narrative. This dude is leaving. Bill Priestap is gone. So everyone, another high-ranking official, FBI official to depart. Bill Priestap currently serves as assistant director of the Bureau's counterintelligence, will leave his post by year end. Everyone at the FBI who subverted, who presided over this fabrication is gone. Top official Bill Priestap to retire. James Comey fired. Andrew McCabe fired. Peter Strzok forced out. Lisa Page forced out. Then you have all the other Ribicki and all of these Kleinsmith and Mueller, and you have about 7 or 8 top people all forced out or fired. And there should be investigations ongoing regarding a whole bunch of them. The Office of Professional Responsibility. Andrew McCabe still has a grand jury investigating him. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's like, the top FBI official, Bill Priestap, to retire. All right. Top FBI official had a role in overseeing investigations of both Hillary Clinton and the Trump campaign will retire at the end of the year. Bill Priestap, who currently serves as assistant director of the FBI's counterintelligence division, will leave the bureau after 20 years. His departure is unrelated to the 2016 investigations. Yeah, right. And the questions that have been raised about them. Of course, it's related. The FBI said in a statement to the newspaper that Priestap became eligible to retire and has chosen to do so after 20 years of service. Why would he stay? He would be next to be investigated. Priestap was involved in the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election and whether Russians concluded with the Trump campaign. He was also a part of the Bureau's investigation into Clinton's use of private email server while she was Secretary of State. Well, Christopher Wray, do your job. President Trump fired former FBI Director James Comey. And by the way, all the entire narrative, James Comey said this in his memos. How do we know it's true? We don't. The Steele dossier says this in the dossier. We know it's all debunked. CrowdStrike gave copies of the server. Oh, well, why would you trust CrowdStrike? It's like Tammy Eaton. Thank you, Tammy. Yes, the live chat is awesome. Counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok was fired. Yeah, that's right. He was fired. McCabe was fired. Comey was fired. You need to flip the script, and you need to have people. Defend what can't be defended. You need to have the left defend the indefensible. That's how you win. See, President Trump was able to sneak up. They've had 2 years of nonstop madness. I'm telling you, like, I debate really intelligent people who keep, they're not as into it as we are. But they seriously think that Trump worked with Russia. And when asked about evidence, they say, well, don't worry, Mueller has it. Mueller doesn't have anything. That's why he's giving people no jail sentences. Michael Cohen could plead guilty or get indicted on any issue, and it'll have nothing to do with Trump. An indictment is not evidence. An indictment is simply a legal way of accusing somebody of committing a crime. Then they stand trial. But he's like, oh yeah, he pleaded guilty to working with Trump on the most horrible things. Well, how do you know? So what? Where's the evidence? Counterintelligence agent Peter Strzok was fired in August. Trump has been highly critical of the FBI and the Department of Justice while he has served as president, frequently saying that there should be further investigations into Clinton. Yeah, there should. And that the Russia probe should come to an end. What do they want? They want the Russia probe to go on forever, for 8 years? But there's no evidence. Meanwhile, they don't want Clinton. Like, if they really care about, well, they don't care about being fair, so. Oh, I love this. Kasich blasts Trump for sharing imprisoned Democrats graphic. The country is divided enough. Oh, Kasich, maybe I'll just vote for you. Please unite this country, Kasich. You and Flake and Sass. Bill Hicks is awesome. Bill Hicks is awesome. Comedy back in the day is better than comedy today. Comedy back in today was irreverent and hilarious. Today it's irreverent with no like how often do you listen to a top comedian and just die laughing? It's almost like people are obligated to laugh. Oh, it's so true. It's so true. So, outgoing Ohio Governor Kasich on Thursday took aim at President Trump for retweeting an image of his political opponents behind bars. Okay, now Trumpy has to go ahead and it's not enough. See, the whole thing with Tammy Eaton, thank you. The deep state isn't about Dem or GOP. Yep, it isn't. I agree. When Babe Ruth called his shot and he pointed and he said, "You know what? That's going out." The whole point was he called his shot and then it went out of the stadium. That's the whole point. So if President Trump is calling his shot, then he needs to do a better job. He really, really, really needs to do a better job. I mean, you have Matthew Whitaker. I mean, the writing's on the wall. If it doesn't happen before June, it probably ain't happening for a long time. I do think Clinton will eventually slip. I do think she'll eventually get indicted. She's a criminal. Everyone knows she's a criminal, even Democrats, but they're proud of it. They're proud of it. This is hilarious. I think it's terrible, Kasich said. I mean, look, the country's divided enough. Oh, but the country was very unified in 2015 when David Brock spent $1 million to harass and demean and troll both progressives and conservatives. What a wonderful time it was after Vietnam. You list any major moment at Watergate. We were so united. During Obama's administration, oh my goodness, we were so united. How many protests took place under Obama's administration? And it was never Obama's fault. It was just, it's America. Meanwhile, anything that happens is directly Trump's fault. Tragedies took place under Obama left and right. Obama deported 2.5 million people. Obama destroyed Libya with the help of Clinton's fantastic genius, foreign policy savvy. Yeah, right. I mean, the country's divided enough. Oh, God. Leave it to Kasich to speak to Chris Matthews at MSNBC. People are hungering for an end to all of this, the name calling, the chaos. And you're the president. There's nothing he could do. At this point right now, Trump could actually, I mean, when he does something, benign, they're like, oh, yeah, he really didn't mean it. Hold on. What did Trump do recently? And they try to actually disparage that. Here, he can't win. Bush funeral. Trump sits with fellow presidents, but still stands alone. How do you spin that? The Washington Post. Like, this is not a bad tweet. It's not. What is he doing? George 8 4 presidents sat awkwardly on one pew. Everything is spun. Trump, odd man out as presidents assemble for funeral. It's nothing he can do. What did he can't even sit at a funeral. The guy can't even sit at a funeral. It's like he can't even sit at a funeral right. So Kasich just like, oh, we need to be united. They would chew Kasich up and spit him out. They would have a field day with him because he wouldn't know how to fight back. The name calling, the chaos, and you're president when you're putting things out like this. Yeah, Kasich, Clinton committed crimes. They all committed crimes to frame Trump. Look, Chris, I'm the governor of the 7th largest state of the country. I got things that make me mad and get me upset, but I don't start putting out a list of people that are my enemies. Oh, wow, Kasich, you're a great human being. Santa Claus is going to give you a whole bunch of presents that Trumpy isn't going to get. You're a real wonderful, wonderful, great person. I think I'll vote for you instead of Trump. Not. Let's get to 400 people watching. We usually average 1,000, but I guess today's a slow day and not much going on. Trump made George W. Bush's funeral incredibly awkward. The guy can't do anything. What did he do? Was he picking his nose? What was he doing? All right, let's look at the in the meme. Okay, that's a good. So the meme, the Trump meme, prison. Twitter erupts as Trump shares Obama prison meme. Twitter erupts. Please just get it done. Get her done. Just get her done. This way, everyone will be defending Clinton, and it'll be hilarious. Donald Trump's growing list of people. Trump's people Donald Trump says should be in jail. It'd be jailed. Okay, hold on. So who's Uma Abedin, Eric Holder, Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch, James Comey, James Clapper? Where's Brandon's not on here? This is not a good meme if Brandon's not on here. John Podesta, Robert Mueller. Now that Russia collusion is a proven lie, when do the trials begin for treason? Trials for treason begin. So it wouldn't even be treason. It would be simply, covering up an actual criminal investigation. Then Michelle Obama just said what we're all thinking. I'm not thinking it. 63 million people voted for Trump aren't thinking it. This is the Washington Post. Every second of the day is meant to destroy Trump. It's not even a newspaper. The New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, and MSNBC, they're not even thinking of being objective. And Fox is not like it's like kissing, Trump's rear end. You have two people, Shepard Smith and Chris Wallace, who are like, I just am uncomfortable about certain things. It's like he has very few real, allies. Armed American, we the people. Hillary looked scared stupid when Trump showed up to. Yeah, that was hilarious. Trump looked like this a great white shark, and Clinton was like, oh, armed American, we the people. Thank you. Thank you, armed American. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, so Bill Clinton, it's not treason. It's just, look, Clinton committed crimes. That's it. James Comey covered up for those crimes. He needs to flip the script. We have enough public record evidence regarding Uranium One. How can we prove it's a crime? Because she deleted Uranium One emails. Of the 30,000 emails that she gave to the State Department, how many deal with uranium one? $30,000 emails, State Department. And then we get, oh, half true. Donald Trump says Hillary Clinton deleted 33,000 emails after getting a subpoena. Oh, it's half true. This is October 9th, 2016. The FBI concluded Hillary Clinton. The FBI didn't conclude anything. James Comey and Peter Strzok and the people under them covered everything up. That's why they said extreme carelessness, not gross negligence. The original draft was gross negligence, which would have indicted Clinton. The FBI concluded that Hillary Clinton should not be prosecuted over a decision to conduct State Department business. No, it's classified and top secret intelligence on a private email server, but Donald Trump pledged to appoint a special counsel to investigate the matter if he becomes president. So, and then of course you have fact checks like, this is PolitiFact. Clinton and her campaign didn't dispute she deleted 33,000 emails. They argued they were personal in nature. Oh. However, they have denied that they deleted the emails after receiving a congressional subpoena, which they did delete emails after. That's Reddit Stone Tier. Clinton's staff received a subpoena for Benghazi-related emails March 4th. An employee managing a server deleted 33,000 emails 3 weeks later. The FBI found no evidence that the emails were deleted deliberately to avoid the subpoena or other requests. What does that even mean? How do you find no evidence? This is why PolitiFact is like basically works more or less for Democrats. And all of these like factcheck.org, it's like, so if Trump received a subpoena for something, then a week later he deletes 33,000 emails, and then the FBI found no evidence that Trump deleted emails to avoid a subpoena. No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. Clinton's team requested for the emails to be deleted months before the subpoena came. So what? That is like the dumbest excuse. They also argued that all the emails would be relevant to the subpoena had already been turned over to the State Department. Well, why would we trust Clinton's team to tell us which emails are relevant and not relevant? That's like trusting CrowdStrike to give an accurate copy of DNC servers, the same DNC servers that nobody looked at. So this like their whole they're getting into this like they're getting into a frenzy regarding personality of Trump's personality. The guy can't even sit. And I mean, how does this relate to Flynn? Flynn did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. I already read the Washington Post article that said that he did nothing wrong. Flynn did absolutely nothing wrong. And I am saying one of President Trump's biggest mistakes is that he didn't stick by General Flynn. Had he stuck by General Flynn, he would have had an ally at his side instead of McMaster and then the homeless walrus Bolton. So it is pretty unbelievable when you look at the extent of the insanity. It's like And when are they just going to give this stupid Mueller report? House Democrats plan to send Trump aides transcripts to Mueller. It's like, okay, fight back. Fight back. And then Adam Schiff has the audacity. The recommendation of no jail time for Flynn, apart from its obvious irony for the man who led chance of lock her up. No, she committed crimes. Why would there be irony? He didn't commit any crimes. Why on earth would there be irony? Why on earth Clinton committed crimes transferring top secret intel outside the government? Flynn didn't even lie to or commit any crimes at all. There you go. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been very fun. I will be back a little later on to my super chat. Horace, Armed American, We the People, thank you so much. Everyone, to my super chat, thank you. And watch the upload. There will be an upload shortly after this. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. Tell your friends to hit subscribe to this channel. We are growing. And have a wonderful day. I don't know where you're located, but in LA, it's raining and gloomy. It's actually pretty fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I will be back very soon. Thank you so very much, and God bless. Thank you.